Hello, and welcome to episode number 17 of The Checkdown, brought to you by The Painted Lines. I'm your host, Shane Half, and you can follow me on Twitter at halfandhalf_TPL. Smash that subscribe button here on YouTube and follow us on Twitch. So let's get into it. Today, we are continuing our NFC East positional power rankings series by breaking down NFC East offensive lines. This will complete the offensive part of our section, and so if you've missed any of our other position groups, make sure you check out our articles on the website or watch the videos right here on YouTube. And so at number 1 on our offensive line power rankings is the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles bring a starting projected lineup of Jordan Mailata, Isaac Seumalo, Jason Kelce, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson. And then they have former first-round pick Andre Dillard and rookie second-year pick Landon Dickerson as backups. Now, the Eagles' offensive line was a disaster in 2020. They allowed 65 sacks on the season, which is 15 sacks more than second place. But there's some context that's needed with that. Both Brandon Brooks and Andre Dillard, the projected right guard and left tackle starters for the year, missed the entire season with injuries sustained during training camp. Left guard Isaac Seumalo missed time, replacement left tackle Jason Peters was injured, and right tackle Lane Johnson saw his season end early with an ankle injury. In fact, in 16 games, the Eagles started 14 different offensive line combinations, and on the year as a whole, 11 different players took over 50 snaps, while 2 starters never played a down. Despite all of that turnover and lack of chemistry, they were still ranked 19th overall in 2020 by Pro Football Focus. And so even with all of the injuries, they still came in at just a slightly below average line for the NFL. And so where did the sacks come from? Well, many of the sacks were on struggling quarterback Carson Wentz, who lost all pocket presence and tended to hold onto the ball too long during the 2020 season. Jordan Mailata and Isaac Seumalo are replacement level starters on the left side of the line. And the trio of Jason Kelce, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson are one of the best right sides in the NFL if they're healthy. Now, health is the question mark for this Eagles unit, but they proved last year that they have plenty of depth to survive whatever injuries the football gods can throw at them. Now, at number 2, we have the Dallas Cowboys. They have an offensive line group of Tyron Smith, Connor Williams, Tyler Badaz, Zach Martin, Lyle Collins, and Connor McGovern is their all-around backup. Now, they were the only NFC East team not in the top 3 in sacks allowed a year ago. They were 7th with 44. And so all around, just a bad year from NFC East offensive lines. Similarly to the Eagles, the Cowboys struggled with injuries as their 3 best players, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, and Lyle Collins, combined to play only 722 snaps, and their replacements really struggled. Brandon Knight and Terrence Steele both gave up pressure rates of 7%. And so while Smith and Martin are as good as Lane, Johnson, and Brandon Brooks, the Cowboys don't have the depth that the Eagles do to get to the top spot. So fully healthy, it would be a close battle between these offensive lines, but you have to give the edge to the depth that the Eagles have. But this is a top 5 unit in the NFL if their starting 5 are able to stay healthy. But again, it's just major health concerns plague both of the top 2 teams in our ratings, and so the edge will go to the Eagles, who simply have more depth. At number 3, we have the Washington football team. They have an offensive line group of Charles Leno, Eric Flowers, Chase Rouillet, Brandon Sheriff, and Cornelius Lucas, and they added rookie Samuel Cosme with a second-round pick in this year's draft. They allowed 50 sacks last season, tied for second in the league with the Giants, but that is a misleading stat. They actually played quite well as a group, but the quarterback was just so bad it didn't matter. Cornelius Lucas took over the starting tackle spot vacated by Trent Williams, and surprising everyone, he played really well. He ranked 11th overall at his position by Pro Football Focus. Rouillet, Sheriff, and Morgan Moses were all top 10 players at their positions a year ago, and the unit overall was ranked 6th in the league. Now, Morgan Moses is gone to free agency 1 year after losing Trent Williams. And so they managed to replace Trent Williams, but his replacement continuing to play at a high level and replacing Morgan Moses will be key this year. All eyes will be on the rookie Samuel Cosme, who many thought could have been a first-round pick, to see if he can step in and be ready to play. The top-end talent is there for the football team, but they can't get past the proven veteran offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys, at least this season, to number 2 in our rankings. And at number 4, we have the New York Giants. The New York Giants have a starting line group of Andrew Thomas, Shane Lemieux, Nick Gates, Will Hernandez, and Matt Pert. And their offensive line is a disaster. They allowed 50 sacks last year, and they were ranked as the second worst offensive line in the league by Pro Football Focus. They lost Kevin Zeitler to Baltimore and Cameron Fleming to Denver in free agency. Their offensive guards, Shane Lemieux and Will Hernandez, allowed a pressure on 8% of all passing downs last season, and those project to be their starters again this year. Andrew Thomas, who was the first offensive tackle off the board in the 2020 draft, was a disaster. He was responsible for 57 pressures at the left tackle position, which is 14 more than the next closest person. And he was the only left tackle in the league responsible for giving up double-digit sacks. If Thomas turns it around, and if he plays up to his top 10 draft slot, the fact of the matter is this unit will still be one of the 5 worst offensive lines in the league. The gap between the Giants and everyone else is very large when it comes to offensive line. Well, that's going to do it for episode 17 of the Checkdown. Make sure you subscribe here on YouTube so you don't miss the next episode, and drop a comment down below and let me know what you think about the offensive lines in the NFC East and who you think should come out on top.